Honourable Chair, on behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I wish to move with notice that this House, at the earliest opportunity, debate the memorandum sent out by South African School Athletics, SASA, to all its provincial officers that all SASA teams on all levels of competition must expedite a quota of minimum of 40% from previously disadvantaged communities with emphasis on females. This quota also includes one athlete per event, and age group must be from a previous disadvantaged community, which can be the fourth athlete in the event, while there is no qualifying standard needed for this athlete. Further note that in a 1971 statement, the ANC stated that sportsmen have a special duty in this regard, in that they should be, please be quiet.
I'm listening to you, honorable member, honorable member. Can you just take your seat, Honorable Hatting? Can I address you, honorable member? Can I address you, please? Can you please be on your feet so that I address you? I'm speaking to you. Yes. We experienced a similar situation last week, honorable member, and there was a ruling in the House that we need to treat each other with the greatest of honorability and not speak to members in the manner in which we are speaking to members. May you please withdraw your comment?
I'm not going to withdraw anything. I will not be allowed, I will not allow to be bullied by a white racist.
Honorable,
I will not withdraw anything. So Hatting is right to address me the way he's addressing us, to say we must shut up, we must keep quiet.
Honorable member.
Is it the honorable way
for
Hatting to address us
honorable
in that
member,
manner? We are not servants to
honorable member,
Hatting.
I'm not asking you to make a
we
statement.
We don't work for Hatting.
I'm not going to ask you to make a statement. I'm not asking you to make a statement. I asked you to withdraw your comment.
I withdraw the truth.
Honorable Hatting, can you continue with your
On a point of order, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Chair.
Can I take the point of order by Honourable
On a point of order, Chair. I humbly request you that when you rule on misconduct of members of this House, you must not be biased, and you must be consistent. I'm appealing to you with due respect, because whatever that Honorable Koni did was a reaction of what, I don't know whether I should, what Mr. Hatting said.
Okay.
So I'm appealing to you, Chair, that treat us equally with due respect. I'm not contesting your ruling. I'm just stating that whatever that we react based on what you can hear them, both of them with this one. And he's new
Honorable
for that matter. This one is new.
I heard you. I heard you, Honorable Mukweli. I heard you, and I take the point.
Address you like that.
Honorable Mukweli. Honorable Mukweli. Honorable Mukweli, I heard you, which does not change my ruling. May we proceed? Which honorable member wishes to make note? Oh, Honorable Hatting was still on the floor. Are you, Honorable, are you rising on the same point that I've just ruled on? May I not allow you to do that? Honorable Hatting, can you please proceed? Can you switch off your mic? Oh, okay.
Thank you, Chair. Further note that in a 1971 statement, the ANC
can you switch?
Explicitly stated the following: sportsmen have a special duty in this regard, in that they should be the first to insist that merit, and merit alone, be the criteria for selecting teams for representative sport. And lastly, note that the ANC has failed to truly transform sport representation through merit-based initiatives that fairly include previously disadvantaged peoples. I so move.
Thank you very much. That was the only member who wished to give a notice of a motion. We'll proceed then to notices without motions. Can the staff, table staff, please assist me of noting members? Honorable Khai.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. I hereby move on behalf of the African National Congress, notice without notes that, and welcomes the appreciation of the announcement by the Competition Commission that it had finally made progress in the call for making school uniforms affordable for everyone. Also notes that the Commission launched an investigation since 2016 after parents complained about the prices of school uniforms that they have been forced to buy from certain suppliers. Further notes that this is aimed at combating the uncompetitive conduct in the sale of school uniforms, where several schools are operating like cartels in that regard. Therefore, commend the Commission for its sterling work, which will not only save South Africans millions of rands, but also ensure that we finally break the barriers of expensive school uniforms that are often characterized by collusion to benefit few service providers, and calls on schools that are involved in this behavior to come forward and stop this price fixing of school uniform. I so move.
Thank you very much. Is there any objection to the motion? The motion is therefore agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Makue.
Thank you, Chairperson. I hereby move without notice that the Council notes with concern the increasing media reports about the allegations of maladministration and corruption in the Tshwane Metropolitan Council under the leadership of the DA and its alliance partners. Further note that this ranges from nepotism in the appointment of senior staff without proper qualifications to the escalating corruption that threatens good governance and service delivery. Also note that virtual collapse of the state of governments due to infighting between the city manager and the DA managers, and therefore condemn in the strongest terms the hypocrisy of the DA as champions of good governance. I so move, Chair.
Is there any objection to the motion?
Yes.
Therefore, the motion is not proceeded with. It will then remain as a notice. Honorable, hey, Julius, you'll pardon me, the handwriting here.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby wish to move without notice that this House congratulate the Western Cape government on reaching their target of full broadband coverage with a total of 1,875 sites. These sites include over 1,200 schools, 200 libraries, and exactly 400 other public facilities. Further note that the Western Cape government is converting 1,600 of the province's broadband points into free Wi-Fi sites with 3 gigabytes of free data to the public each month with the top-up rate of 15 Rand for 2 gigabytes. This is 40% lower than the nearest mobile competitor. Note that the public can also access free internet in 70 Cape access centers, most of them located in the province's most rural towns and villages. Further note that where the DA governs, the people come first. I so move.
Is there any objection to the motion? Therefore, the motion shall not be proceeded with. Honorable Kumalo, Special Delegate from Gauteng.
Thank you, Chair. On behalf of the African National Congress, I hereby move without notice that the Council, 1, notes and welcomes with appreciation the establishment of the SIU Special Tribunal by His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa last week. 2, further notes that Judge Mlindelo Makanya has been appointed as the chairperson of the tribunal for a 3-year term, including his team of 7 judges. 3, further notes that the special tribunal is aimed at fast-tracking the finalization of more than 7 billion rands in civil claims linked to corrupt or irregular state contracts, and ensuring that looted taxpayers' money is returned back to the state to serve the interests of our people. 4, acknowledges that this initiative is one of the many that demonstrate the commitment and seriousness of the ANC government under the stewardship of the President Cyril Ramaphosa to wage a concerted and resolute battle against corruption and ensuring that those who manipulated state and governance processes to benefit their heavy pockets and those of their friends and families are held accountable. 5, and therefore commend President Ramaphosa on his unwavering stance against all forms of corruption. I so move.
Thank you very much. Is there any objection to the motion? In the absence of any, the motion shall therefore... Oh, there is an objection to the motion, and therefore the motion shall not be, is not agreed to. Honorable Koni.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I rise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters that the House notes that on this day in 1957, Ghana gained its independence from Britain. Further note that the people of Ghana under the leadership of Kwame Nkrumah were the first African people to gain independence from a colonial power. Throughout our continent, strived and continue to strive for their total liberation. In the 20th, the people of Africa achieved political freedom through struggle, sweat, blood, and sacrifice. But political freedom means little without economic freedom. And for our country, we still have a long way to go in realizing the total liberation of our continent. We are inspired by the people of Ghana as we embark on our generational struggle of economic freedom, and we call on this council to congratulate the people of Ghana on their historic anniversary. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any objection to the motion? In the absence of any, then therefore the motion is agreed to in terms of section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Labuskakun.
Chair, on behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby wish to move without notice that this House congratulates the DA Western Cape government for growing employment.
Honorable Labuskakun, may you please beg my pardon. Honorable members, may I please not be intimidated? There are members whom their names are listed here. And unfortunately, if your name, you find yourself, your name is not here, it will be because of time. That's the only reason. But for so long as your name is here, it's here, Honorable Mukweli. Bambo, you are here. Please, can you continue, Honorable Labuskakun?
Congratulate the DA Western Cape government for growing employment in the province by 24.8% between 2009 and 2018. Note that the Western Cape has South Africa's lowest unemployment rate at 14%. Further note that a total of 508,000 jobs were created in the Western Cape since the DA took office, and that R1 billion in economic savings have been generated through red tape reduction and ease of doing business strategies. I so move.
Thank you very much. Is there any objection to the motion? In light of an objection, therefore the motion is not agreed to. Honorable Mampuru.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairperson. I hereby move without notice that the Council notes with concern that South African human rights commissioners reacted with shock at the conditions under which the pupils at Tsina, Tsitsa, and Kalivamba Primary School in Mfuleni were taught. Further note that yesterday the commissioners witnessed firsthand how teachers dealt with more than 100 pupils each day when they made a surprise visit to the schools after receiving complaints from the parents. Also noted that the parents demanded quality education for their children who had been placed in a platoon system because some children have not been taught since the start of the academic year, and therefore call on the DA-run Western Cape Department of Education to take serious the education of black children in the Western Cape and stop thinking about black people only during election time. I so move.
Thank you very much. Is there any objection to the motion? In light of an objection, the motion shall then read as a notice of a motion. Honorable Mukweli.
Thank you, Chairperson. I rise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters that the Council note the violent and criminal abuse of Bongile Babes Wedumo, Similani by Mandla Mampincha Mapumulo.
Yes, yeah.
Condemn the repulsive and disgusting action of Mampincha, who we know has previously abused babes despite his denial. Acknowledge that every day women across South Africa are killed, including by their husbands, partners, and family members, and that is beyond a crisis. Further note that Mampincha was released on bail of 2,000 rand when students during Christmas fall did not even get bail or had to pay 3,000 rand. Recognize that men must rid themselves of all human abusers and patriarchy. Send a message of support to babes. Call on the justice system to make an example of Mampincha and sentence him to life imprisonment. And further call on all media outlets across the country to boycott and silence Mampincha. We so move.
Thank you very much. Is there any seconder to the motion? In light of an objection, Honorable Member Mokwele, Honorable Member, order. We have just listened to your motion. No, we have just listened to your motion. It's just a procedural matter. So there is an objection to the motion, therefore the motion shall read as a notice. Honorable Mikalakis.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby wish to move without notice that this House congratulate the DA Western Cape government for creating 4,300 internship opportunities for young South Africans through the Premier's Advancement of Youth Internship Program. Since 2014, the Western Cape government has also provided 6,575 health bursaries to medical students across different disciplines such as nursing, pharmacy, physio, and dentistry. Further note that the Western Cape government has spent 53.7 million rand over 5 years on youth opportunity initiatives in the agriculture sector, whilst the member who's making so much noise, his colleague, has been stealing. And last, to note that the DA is the only party capable of running a government that cares for and provides opportunities for the youth of South Africa. I so move.
Is there any objection to the motion? The motion shall therefore read as a notice. Honorable Zwane.
Thank you, Chairperson. On behalf of the African National Congress, I hereby move without notice that Council 1 notes with profound sadness the death of veteran jazz singer Mama Dorothy Masuku on Saturday, the 23rd February, at the age of 83, succumbing to a complication related to hypertension after suffering a stroke last year, 2018. 2, Council further notes that Mama Dorothy Masuku was not only a musical but also a cultural activist and fearless gender advocate who remained a laudable voice of the marginalized in the dark days of apartheid. 3, Council also notes that though Mama Dorothy Masuku was born in Zimbabwe, she played a vital role in the liberation of South Africa through music with other iconic legends like Miriam Makeba, Margaret Mcinga, Thandi Klasen, and Letambuli, and others. 4, Council acknowledges that Dorothy Masuku's star will always shine in death, just as it did in life. In her, the nation has lost an arts and culture activist. And 5, and lastly, Council takes this opportunity to convey its deepest condolences to her family and friends. May her soul rest in eternal peace. Hamba kahle noNtsokolo.
Thank you very much. Is there any objection to the motion? The motion shall therefore be agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. I've tried my best. I've tried my best. I accommodated provinces, I accommodated parties in my list. The only province that I left out that has not raised an issue is the Northern Cape. Can you be the last motion? I had Northwest.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Can you proceed with the motion, Honourable Member?
Thank you, Chairperson. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby wish to move without notice that this House congratulate the Western Cape Province on increasing the matric pass rate from 75.7% in 2009 to 81.5% in 2018. Further note, colleagues please, further note, the maths pass rate increased from 64.7 in 2009 to 67% in 2018, while the science pass rate increased from 52% in 2009 to 79.5% in 2018. And then lastly note that the retention rate from grades 10 to 12 in the province is the highest in the country at around 63% for the 2018 matric.
Order, honourable members.
Chairperson,
Can we give the member the necessary hearing?
Chairperson, lastly note that the retention rate from grades 10 to 12 in the province is the highest in the country at around 63% for the 2018 matric results. No other province got above 50% in their retention rate, which is shocking, Chairperson. I hope my province can learn from them. Thank you, Chair. I so move.
Thank you very much. Is there any objection to the motion? In light of an objection, the motion shall therefore read as a notice. Thank you very much, honourable members. We have exceeded our time on motions. I will therefore call on the Secretary to read the first order.
Chairperson, I thought you were giving Mpumalanga a chance.
No.
But Mpumalanga hasn't had a chance.
No, you thought wrongly.
But Chairperson, Mpumalanga has not had an opportunity.
No, the thinking, order, honourable members. We must at all times order, honourable members. We must at all times try to strike a balance between what we hear and what we think. I made mention of the time factor and I called on the Secretary to read the first order of the day. Secretary, may you continue?
Consideration of report of Select Committee on Finance.
Honourable Member, don't you want to hear the first order? Secretary.
Consideration of report of Select Committee on Finance, 2019 Fiscal Framework and Revenue Proposals.
Honourable Tipier. Before Honourable Tipier, I'm informed that there's an innovation here as compared to the last two sittings. There's a podium there for you to speak from. Can you use this facility? It's a facility that has been created.
Yeah. So, Chair, so we are really representing the Queen. Eh? So we make it look like it's a Queen's chamber now.
Honourable Tipier, can you continue the debate?
Honourable Chairperson, Honourable Deputy Minister Kungubele, Honourable Members of the House, and Honourable Special Delegates. The Minister of Finance, Minister Mboweni, tabled the National Annual Budget on the 20th of February and the 21st of February. The four committees in both houses, Finance and Appropriations, received a briefing from the Minister as well as the senior officials of the National Treasury. The PBO Parliamentary Budget Office made a post-budget analysis when they briefed the committee. On the 28th of February, public hearings were held, and on the 1st of March, the National Treasury responded to the inputs made by the 12 stakeholders that appeared before us in the public hearings. Honourable Chairperson, the Minister was very frank on the fiscal position of the fiscus when he tabled the national budget. Government can't do everything alone. The macroeconomic policy is directed to economic growth and distribution. Organized around the theme risk, renewal, and growth, the government has never before been faced with such challenging circumstances to shape a budget that balances and need to contain expenditure and be reasonably pro-poor and developmental. The committee believes that the government has managed this reasonably well. In particular, we welcome the fact that pro-poor spending will once again grow in real terms. 68% of the budget goes to social commitments. We note the 1.2 trillion rand for learning and culture, the 717 billion rand for the NHI and health as a whole, and nearly 894 billion rand for social development over the MTF. Yes, in previous fiscal framework reports, while noting the severe budget constraints, we called for high increases in social grants as part of an overall approach to cushion the effects of the 1% increase in VAT. This remains our view. We believe more needs to be done to cushion the effects of the VAT increase on the poor. Obviously, the fiscal framework has to be evaluated in terms of the extent to which it contributes to investment, to growth, to job creation, and the reduction of inequalities. We welcome the President's Economic Stimulus and Recovery Plan and called for an implementation plan. We realize that such a plan is not the responsibility of National Treasury alone, but government as a whole, but recommend that the National Treasury deals with this at its first quarterly briefing of the new committee in the 6th Parliament. Yes, we agree, as raised in public hearings, that there were very few, if any, economic drivers in the fiscal framework. We believe that the government also needs to follow up on the 300 billion rand pledges at the investment conference and see it that this converts into bricks and mortar and jobs. The committee agrees with the Treasury that there is an urgent need to ensure sustainable finances by containing the budget deficit and stabilizing public debt. The committee welcomes the progress being made on growth-enhancing reforms, including the preparations to allocate the telecommunications spectrum, reform visa requirements, and remove the barriers to mining investment. The downward revision of the growth rate forecast from 1% to 1.5% in 2019 in the 4 months since the October MTPPS, and the possibility that the latest forecast may still not be realized, given the risk identified, once again raises questions about the credibility of forecast when the committee engaged with the Treasury. The committee notes that the budget deficit and debt to GDP ratio have widened since the 2018 MTPPS. The committee reiterates its concern about further increase in the public sector borrowing. The committee notes that in the context of the weak economic growth and the need to address the risk posed by Eskom, the 2019 budget poses large-scale expenditure reprioritization and tax measures that narrow the deficit from 4.5% of GDP in 2019-20 to 4% in 2021-22. The committee expresses its concern about the upward trajectory of the GDP to debt to GDP ratio, which is set to reach 60.2% in 2023-24, and then down to 60.1% in the following year. The committee notes that the CPI inflation is increasing and expected to be 5.2% in 2019 due to the rising fruit inflation and electricity prices. Obviously, the biggest challenge is how to rescue Eskom. We welcome the decision to link the 23 billion rand a year to support to Eskom to the appointment of a chief reorganization officer who will contribute to the implementation of the mandate of the Presidential Task Team on Eskom. We urge that there be intensive and effective consultation with the trade unions on the restructuring of Eskom. The private sector is also urged to play its full part, both in its self-interest and in the country's interest in contributing to Eskom's strengthening. The committee agrees with National Treasury that if SOEs require financial support, the state should appoint chief reorganization officers to work with their boards and management in the same manner that a curator does with private companies in trouble. The committee also believes that there needs to be far more progress on the sale of non-assets of SOEs. The committee will pay attention to how the Select Committee on Appropriations process issues related to the public sector wage bill. The revenue shortfall has now increased to 42.8 billion rand compared to the 27.4 billion initially revenue shortfall for the 2018-19 financial year. National Treasury has attributed the shortfall to persistent weak economic activity in corporate income tax, CIT, and clearing of the VAT refunds backlog will also reduce the net revenue collection. However, we note improvements in SARS these past few months. We look forward to the appointment of a new SARS commissioner and welcome the formation of a new illicit economic unit, the strengthening of the SARS IT system, the revival of the large business unit, and the appointment of Judge Dennis Davis to assess the amount of revenue not being collected by SARS. Given that billions of rands are lost each year through illicit financial flows, IFFs, and the urgent need for revenue, SARS needs, in cooperation with other state agencies, as we have repeatedly said, to do far more and far more quickly to reduce IFFs. The committee will continue to pursue this matter vigorously with SARS and the other relevant agencies. We also believe that there has to be more progress on the National Treasury deciding on the Davis Tax Commission recommendations and curbing tax evasion and avoidance. We agree with the proposal in the public hearings that National Treasury should be more effectively exploring boosting revenue by taxing income and profits from the digital economy. We note the concerns that the commitments made in NETLAG by the National Treasury and other government departments about reducing job losses related to the implementation of the health promotion levy or sugar beverage tax are not being fulfilled. The same issues may arise in regard to the implementation of the carbon tax. Progress on these NETLAG commitments need to be reported regularly to the committee in the 6th Parliament, and this will be done, and that will be in our legacy report on a quarterly basis. The committee agrees with the proposal in the public hearings that the Office of the Tax Ombud should have more powers to investigate without asking for ministerial approval and should be actively involved in amendments to the Tax Administration Act. The committee welcomes the recommendations of the Nugent Commission of Inquiry on SARS, tax administration and governance, and urges the National Treasury to introduce amendments to the legislation reasonably soon. We also welcome the 526 billion rand, Honourable Chair, for the infrastructure over the medium term. The employment tax incentive scheme has been very successful, with 1.1 million young people being beneficiaries, and we welcome the decision to extend it for another 10 years. Honourable Chair, there are 30 recommendations. I'm not going to deal with every one of them. But very important, the committee will also refer the submission of the Pietermaritzburg Pensioners Forum. They came all the way from Pietermaritzburg to Parliament, and SAIA to the Select Committee on Appropriations to process further as they deal with the appropriations issues. It's about the increases in pensions. The committee reiterates its views, Chair, that government alone cannot ensure the necessary economic growth. Parliament, the private sector, the trade unions, other sections of civil society, and the public all have a role to play. However, government has to lead in this regard. We welcome the progress so far and would like to see more. Honourable Chair, a word of appreciation. This is the last report on the fiscal framework and revenue proposals of the Fifth Parliament, and a word of appreciation to the support staff of this Select Committee for Finance. I worked with some of them for 9.5 years, other a bit shorter. Keep it up. Put a finger in front of your chest and say, I want to be the best. You are doing well. Honourable Chairperson, the DA reserves his right on this report. I hereby table this report for consideration by the House. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Tibier. I therefore put the question, and the question is that the report be agreed to. Is there any province that wishes to make the no. I'm supposed to ask because in terms of Rule 71, I should allow provinces an opportunity. Free State.
Declaration, consideration of fiscal framework and revenue proposals. For 25 years, the fiscal framework of government has failed.
On a point of order, what is the point of order?
Chairperson, I rise to state that sitting here as a delegate, I'm leading the delegation from Free State. The man doesn't have any mandate.
Read your rules,
He's
Chief.
not a leader of the
Read your rules,
delegation.
Chief. Ask your Chief Whip.
On a point of order, Chair.
Assess Chief Whip.
Okay. I've not been even allowed.
On a point of order, Chair.
Honorable member.
I think Honorable Park is not aware that Honorable Shabangu went to the province, and then as a member of the Committee of Finance, he was indeed given the mandate to declare by the committee from the legislature. You can laugh because I'm whipping him. I know what is happening in terms of the reports. Yes, I'm his whip. So, yes.
Honorable members, order. It's not the first time this situation happens. And we have ruled on a number of occasions as presiding officers on this matter. Point number one, I made mention, I'm making a ruling here. I said, in accordance with Rule 71, I shall therefore allow provinces to make a declaration of vote if they so wish. No. That is in accordance with Rule 71. Now, what does Rule 71 say? That a delegate or whoever will then rise on behalf of a province must then have the mandate and the authority of the province to do so. Now, no, I don't know what is that for. Now, the leader of a delegation from the Free State stands up to say that in terms of him, as leader of delegation, the member who rose on behalf of the Free State does not have a mandate. No, I'm Honorable Mokwele, can you have a seat? So, my ruling, therefore, based on Rule 71, I shall therefore request a member on the basis of him not standing on the mandate of the province, not to proceed with the motion.
On a point of order, Chair.
Honorable Mokwele, I've made a ruling and I'm not going to allow a debate on this matter.
Can I
If the
engage
ruling, Emma Pele, if the ruling is out of order in terms of Rule 71, therefore you shall have all the rights
Chair.
to then contest the ruling.
Chair, I'm not contesting the ruling. I'm standing on a point of privilege.
Honorable Julius, you are on your feet and I've
Chair.
not recognized you.
Chair, with due respect, I think we need to close this 5th Parliament term, knowing and understanding our roles and responsibilities. I've been raising this thing to make the House aware that the rules are flouted. Honorable Shabangu is from Free State. There's no discussion from the delegation of Free State that allowed Honorable, my friend there, I forgot his surname, Pakis, to lead the delegation. It doesn't mean when the ANC is a ruling party, it therefore automatically happens that a person who comes from the ANC will be the leader of the delegation whilst the leader is absent. That issue needs to be communicated in all delegates. Therefore, Honorable Shabangu is from Free State. He's not even aware that Honorable Pakis today is the leader of delegation.
Thank you very
I'm just
much.
citing that
Thank
to
you
you,
very much.
and deep down you know that I'm right.
May you just bend
So
the finger, please?
whatever, okay, that's how I speak, unfortunately.
don't
Let
do
me-
that.
Yeah, let me put it at the back.
I think I heard your point.
Yes.
I heard
So
your point.
my point is very clear, Chair.
Yes, it's very clear. I heard
and
it.
we must lead by example.
heard it. Fine.
So Honorable Pakis is not aware that
Honorable-
the committee
Honorable Mokwele,
has
I've heard your
given
point.
Shabangu the delegate the
Honorable-
mandate.
You are
I'm just
repeating-
giving you that.
No, you are
we
repeating
dealing
yourself.
with this.
All right, fine.
Sure.
Honorable members.
Please allow him,
No,
but we have made
I've
our
not
point.
disallowed you.
Oh.
I've,
No, I'm saying him.
It's quite painful, but I listen to you. Honorable members, I'm not going to repeat order. I'm not going to repeat my ruling. However, the only thing that I would do for the purpose of this House and as delegates, whether there are those that will be coming back or not, but at least to have this peace, may I quote Rule 71, so that we don't leave here with a misunderstanding. Honorable members, Rule 71.
With due respect, sir, we
I've not-
understand.
You're listening to yourself. Can you take your seat, honorable member? Can you take your seat? Can you take your seat? Honorable member, can you take your seat? Thank you very much. In terms of Rule 71 reads as follows. Let me go straight to Rule 71B, and I want to read it out. On request, that is the presiding officer, may allow each province in a speech not exceeding 3 minutes by the delegation head, or another member authorized by the delegation head to state the reasons why the province is in favor or against the question. Honorable Shabangu, may you please take your seat.
Before,
May you please take your seat. May you please take your seat, Honorable Shabangu. Honorable, okay. Thank you very much.
Deputy Chairperson. Deputy
Honorable Mikalakis, on what point are you rising?
Deputy Chairperson, just on a point of order, perhaps this might help. coming from the Free State, I'm not quite sure whether Honorable Shavambu, because of the way that the EFF and the ANC are working together these days, was not perhaps mandated by the ANC.
No, it doesn't help. You are not helping us with anything, Honorable Mikalakis. Honorable members, is there any other? I've ruled on this matter.
Point of order.
Are you on the same matter?
Point of order.
Honorable members.
Point of order, Chairperson.
Honorable, is it on the same matter?
Yeah, but long time ago.
No. I'm asking, is it on the same matter? Is it on the same matter that I've ruled on?
Deputy Chairperson, it's on the same matter. I just
No,
want
then
to-
I'm not going to allow you, Honorable
You
Julius,
are
because I've
responsible
ruled.
for the chaos.
Honorable, yeah, thank you very much for not having been listened to. Is there any other province that wishes to make a declaration of vote? There's a clarity that is needed, Honorable Isaac.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity, Chairperson. I just wanted to clarify through you.
Honorable members, I want to hear Honorable Isaac. Can you please give me an opportunity? Honorable Mokweli, may I please listen to Honorable Isaac?
Sorry, Chairperson, because it also concerns me as a member of the Select Committee of Finance, I just through you would like to know that next week, members of this committee go out to brief the provinces on final mandates regarding this very bill. Now, what is the situation then if a member is not allowed to do a declaration on behalf of the province? Is that member then also expected to do the briefing to the province? I just wanted clarity from you. Thank you, Chair.
No, honorable members, I think that's a matter, honorable members, order, that's a matter that belongs to the committee. Because it falls within a cycle of passing of legislation in the national. Honorable Mokweli, we have got the responsibility. Honorable Mutara, Honorable Shabangu, and Honorable Mutara. As permanent, I think you seem to be enjoying this. You are really enjoying something that should really not be enjoyed.
Problems in the coalition.
Honorable members, I'm allowing now provinces to make a declaration of vote if they so wish. Limpopo.
Deputy Chair,
Honorable
You are
members,
going to be.
Can we listen to Limpopo, please? Can we listen to Limpopo?
Deputy Chair, Deputy Minister of Finance, honorable members, the ANC welcomes the 2019 fiscal framework and revenue proposals as presented by the Minister of Finance. We believe that this very accurate budget, which carefully and sensitively balances the need to stimulate economic growth, reduce wasteful expenditure, deal with corruption, contain
Just
debt,
hold, honorable member.
increase.
Honorable Smith, on what point are you rising?
Honorable Deputy Chair, just on a point of order, the honorable member were asked to speak on behalf of Limpopo, and now he's speaking on behalf of the ANC. If you listened, he said on behalf of the ANC. So is he speaking on behalf of the party or of the province?
We still,
If he was the leader of the
we still have a sitting next week. I will familiarize myself with that and whether if it is out of order. Honorable member.
Yes, deal with corruption, contain debt.
On a point of order, Chair.
Increase.
On a point of order, Chair.
Just take your seat, honorable member.
On a point of order, Chair. You are going to collapse this house, Chair. The reason why I'm saying that, you should have made that ruling when Honorable Shabangu was giving the declaration to find out whether Shabangu has been given a mandate or not. Now that he's a member of ANC from Limpopo, you allow him. You are not consistent, Chair, and you are going to collapse this house. I'm appealing with you.
Honorable Mokweli.
I'm appealing with you, Chair.
Honorable Mokweli, can I
Why
respond to
don't
your
you
appeal?
make the
No, Honorable Mukweli, before you collapse yourself, may I request some of the members to be in order? Because now it is no longer points of orders. It's just wanting to be disruptive. Honorable members, Honorable Abuskachni, on what point are you rising?
Chairperson, I rise on the point of order that this House is becoming very disruptive. And there's really no point of order. We're in a process of declarations from provinces. The public out there don't want to see us at the end of a 5-year term that people in this House don't know the rules. We all know that the Premier appoints the head of a delegation who carries the vote in this House. I can't see why we are debating that, and I can't see why this was allowed. Can we please continue?
Honorable members, point of order taken. Honorable member, can you continue with the declaration of Limpopo?
Despite new spending pressures and reductions, the budget remains strongly redistributive, and we note and support that about 68% of consolidated expenditure goes towards social commitments, including education, health, social grants, and basic services. These services and transfers provided by all spheres of government will enable South Africans to access socio-economic opportunities and reclaim their dignity, which apartheid system eroded over the years and centuries. We welcome the fact that since the launch of the Sanitation Appropriate for Education SAFE initiative in August 2018, 699 schools have been provided with safe sanitation facilities, and further 1,150 schools are due to receive similar safe sanitation facilities. We look forward to the complete eradication of unsafe and inappropriate sanitation facilities in the next 3 years. The budget also provides for the national health insurance, which remains a priority of government. The national health insurance will enable South Africans to receive free services at a point of care in public and private quality accredited health facilities. By applying the principle of social solidarity and cross-subsidization, the NHI will reduce the inequality in access to health care. This major policy intervention is in line with our constitution, which calls for access to health for all. Government social protection system has assisted greatly in reducing poverty and inequality by providing social grants and welfare services for vulnerable groups. We note that in this current economic climate, there are some families who survive on these much-needed social grants. We therefore acknowledge the submission by all stakeholders, including the one by the Peter Maritzburg Pensioners Forum. We expect the relevant committee in this House to follow up on the issues raised by the Pensioners Forum. The state-owned enterprises, we welcome transformative measures that are being put in place to improve governance, strengthen leadership, and bring about stability. Parliament will have to vigorously monitor the implementation
Honorable
of these
member,
measures
your time is
and hold the
expired.
relevant
Thank you very
structures
much.
and we support
Honorable
the report,
Chabango.
Chairperson.
Honorable Shabango, on what point are you rising?
I was going to remind you that, but on top of that, I was going to say I can't hear clearly what the speaker is trying to say because he can't read properly.
That's not a point of order. Is there any other province? In the absence of any, we shall then proceed with the voting, and we'll do that Western Cape. But then you must be sharp.
Honourable Chairperson, honourable members, fellow South Africans. The macroeconomic picture for South Africa as set out in the fiscal framework is not positive. It points to an economy in crisis and a government unable to respond effectively. Revenue is down year on year and now projected to be at 1.6 trillion. Expenditure at 1.8 trillion continues to rise at an unsustainable pace, especially into the bottomless pit of the state-owned enterprises. The minister himself said that we need to ask the question of whether we need these fiscal draining entities. This needs to be done more than just a rhetorical question. The widening 242 billion deficit requires increasing debt that will completely crowd out service delivery within 25 years. This means that there will be no money for anything other than debt servicing. Our economic growth remains tepid and will not increase above 2.1% in the foreseeable future. This state of affairs was entirely avoidable if the failing ANC government had successfully managed our economic woes. Significantly, government did not act on the corrupt activities of the state-owned enterprises and kept bailing them out. Eskom remains our biggest risk to economic growth, and its restructure must be top priority. The spiraling public sector wage bill excessively pays politically connected cronies and not enough to frontline service providers such as our nurses, police, and teachers. Last night, with another fuel price increase, every South African became poorer, thanks to this failing ANC government. Our older population has been left completely vulnerable. The Pietermaritzburg Pensioners Forum raised the issue of endless broken promises, so much so that they said that the ANC cannot rely on their support for this election. Their hopes have been disappointed by a government that does not care. The Western Cape does not support this unsustainable fiscal framework, especially because it does not promote one South Africa for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, may I also just remind you, you know, when we started, we introduced this innovation of a podium here. And if a member wishes to speak from this podium, you are not forced to. You are not forced to. So if a member wants to speak from where he or she is seated, you can do that. But please, let us avoid a situation of wanting to instruct members to speak from where they are. Is there any other province that wishes to make a declaration? In the absence of any, can we then proceed with the voting in an alphabetical order? Eastern Cape.
Chairperson, the Eastern Cape supports the report.
Free State. Gauteng.
We support
KwaZulu-Natal.
We support KwaZulu-Natal.
Limpopo.
Limpopo supports, Chair.
Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga supports.
Northern Cape.
Northern Cape support, Chair.
Northwest.
Northwest supports, Chair.
Western Cape.
Western Cape does not support.
On a point of order, Chair.
Honorable members, all 9
On a point of order, Chair.
Can you take your seat, honorable member, because I want to conclude this.
On a point of order.
Can you take your seat, honorable Mokwele?
Before you rule that.
Honorable Mokwele, can you take your seat?
I'm saying the leader of
Honorable
Northern
Mokwele.
Cape is here. What does the rule say?
Honorable Mokwele, can you take your seat? I'm not going to entertain that. Honorable members, 8 provinces voted in favor and 1 voted against. Therefore, the report is agreed to in terms of Section 65
on a point of order,
of
Chair.
the Constitution.
On a point of order, Chair.
Honorable Mokwele.
Yes, Chair, I would request that you become calm.
I am very calm.
You are not.
Very calm.
You are not.
No,
You are-
unfortunately,
you are
you are not a
ruling-
doctor.
You are ruling out of emotions.
So you think. Honorable
I'm
Mokwele, can
telling
you take your seat, please?
I'm saying I'm standing chair in terms of the leader.
Honorable Mokwele, can I address you, please, before you distract us? Before you distract us. If you go back to the ruling that I made on the basis of delegated responsibilities, then it will be out of order. You are extremely out of order. You are out of order. Read your Rule 71. Honorable Mokwele, you are out of order. And please, stop being out of order. No, I'm asking you, please stop being out of order. Secretary will read the second order of the day.
In the absence of stock, and stock is here. We don't have time for this hogwash. Please call our We're going to deal with you at the
Honorable
Fiscal
members,
Assembly.
can we take the second order of the day? Secretary.
Consideration of report of Select Committee on Security and
Human
Justice,
abuser,
draft amended
human abuser.
regulations made in terms of section 23 sub 1. of
Honorable
Legal
members, I
Aid
can't
South
even
Africa
hear the
Act.
secretary. I can't even hear the secretary. Honorable Mukweli, I really don't want to ask the ultimate question. I really don't want that. Please, let us not get to that. Honorable Shabang, on what point are you rising?
Can we please, with due respect, go and call Memudise to come and preside because
Honorable
I can
member,
see
you're out of order. Secretary.
Consideration of report of Select Committee on Security and Justice, draft amended regulations made in terms of section 23 sub 1 of Legal Aid South Africa Act number 39 of 2014, tabled in terms of section 23 sub 2 of the Act dated 19 February 2019.
Honorable Mateme.
Chair of the session, Chair of the Council, Chief Whip of the Council, special delegates from our provinces, Deputy Minister of Finance in absentia, members of this August House. Report of the Select Committee on Security and Justice on the draft amendment regulations made in terms of section 23 subsection 1 of Legal Aid South Africa, Act 2014, Act number 39 of 2014, tabled in terms of section 23 subsection 2 of the Act dated 19 February 2019. Chair of the session. The Select Committee on Security and Justice received a letter from the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services dated 16th February 2018 for the committee to consider on an informal basis. The draft regulations made in terms of section 23 subsection 1 of the Legal Aid South Africa Act 2014, Act number 39 of 2014, prior to its formal tabling in Parliament. Chairperson, the draft regulations, once formally tabled, cannot be amended without its formal withdrawal, amendment and retabling. The Minister and the Legal Aid South Africa therefore consulted the committee on the draft regulations to the Legal Aid South Africa Act 2014, Act number 39 of 2014. First paragraph, background. Legal Aid South Africa makes available legal aid and legal advice, provides legal representation to persons at state expense, and provides education and information concerning legal rights and obligations as envisaged in the Constitution and the Act. These proposed amendments, Chairperson, to Regulation 27, therefore, increase the threshold amounts applied by Legal Aid South Africa when determining who qualifies for legal aid. This means that more people will be allowed to access legal aid in South Africa and therefore have broader access to justice. Paragraph 2, contents of proposed amendments to regulations. Chair, Regulation 27 provides for the means test to determine whether a person qualifies for legal aid. The test is necessary to decide whether a person can or cannot afford his or her own legal representation. The main factor in the test is the applicant's net monthly income. But the applicant's assets and property are taken into consideration as well. Chairperson, Regulation 27 subsection 1 remains the same, providing that in order to qualify for legal aid in either civil or criminal cases, the legal aid applicant's gross monthly income
Let me apologize on his behalf, on behalf of the House to you. No. I've noticed a mistake there. And I take responsibility and apologize to the member on behalf of the House. May you proceed with your
Thank you,
your speech?
Chairperson. Regulation 27, subsection 1 remains the same, providing that in order to qualify for legal aid in either civil or criminal cases, the legal aid applicant's gross monthly income, less tax and net assets must fall within the parameters contemplated in sub-regulation 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 before legal aid may be granted. Chairperson, the proposed amendment to Regulation 27, subsection 2 increases the qualifying monthly net income of an applicant for legal aid in a criminal case from 5,500 per month to 7,400 per month. Chair, the proposed amendment to Regulation 27, subsection 3 increases the qualifying monthly net income in a civil case from 5,500 to 7,400 in the case of a single person, that is, an applicant who does not have a spouse or is not a member of a household. If the applicant for legal aid in a civil case has a spouse or is a member of a household, the qualifying monthly net income increases from 6,000 to 8,000. That is Regulation 27, subsection 4. Chairperson, assets and property are also taken into consideration. Bullet 1, Regulation 27, subsection 5 provides that a legal aid applicant or an applicant who is a member of a household who does not own immovable property and has net movable assets that are less than 128,000 in value may qualify for legal aid in a criminal or civil matter. The amount increases from 100,000 rand. Bullet point 2, Regulation 27, subsection 6 provides that an applicant for legal aid who owns immovable property and net immovable and movable assets worth 640,000 or less may qualify for legal aid for a criminal or civil matter. Chair, the proposed amendment increases the amount from 500,000 or less to 640,000 or less. Although an applicant's income or property and assets may exceed the threshold amount set in terms of the means test, he or she may still qualify for legal aid. In this respect, a number of regulations are pertinent. Bullet point 3, Regulation 28 sets out amounts that are included or excluded when calculating monthly income. For example, a grant paid by SASSA is excluded. However, spousal or child maintenance is included. Chairperson, bullet point number 4, Regulation 30 gives Legal Aid South Africa a discretion to grant legal aid to a person who exceeds the means test in certain circumstances. Bullet point number 5, Regulation 31 that if an applicant does not qualify for legal aid in terms of the means test in a criminal matter, Legal Aid South Africa may provide partial legal aid and require the applicant to contribute to the cost of legal aid. Legal Aid South Africa must take into account factors such as whether the applicant will suffer substantial injustice if legal aid is not provided when making its decisions to partially subsidize a matter. Bullet point number 6. Regulation 34 provides that a legal aid applicant whose application for legal aid is refused has the right of appeal. Bullet point number 7. Legal Aid South Africa provides representation to children, both civil and criminal matters. Bullet number 8. In terms, it's a report, Chairperson, it's not a motion. In terms of Section 22 of the Act, a court can direct Legal Aid South Africa to provide legal aid in criminal matters where legal aid has been refused. It is of the opinion that there are particular circumstances that need to be brought to Legal Aid South Africa. Committee deliberations, Chair. The Select Committee met with Legal Aid South Africa on 20th June 2018, and the interaction clarified a number of
Honorable
concerns,
Member, your time has expired.
recommendations.
Honorable Member, your time has expired, Honorable Member. No, your time has expired. Your time has expired. Answered will receive your speech. But you see what I found interesting about this, honorable members, what I found interesting about this statement and listening to that statement, that's exactly why we're here for. Because that statement speaks about access to justice and how the poorest of the poor will be able to access justice.
Exclusive.
And we are busy disturbing the member who is providing such vital information to society. Secondly, Honorable Mukwele, I've got a monitor here. A monitor that makes a sound to all of us when a member's time has expired. I don't know why should it be. Honorable members, Honorable Member Mukwele, we know that you are here. You don't have to make us aware. We know. It's an interesting season that we're in. We all want to be seen to be in Parliament and doing something. Yes, we acknowledge that. We are here. We are aware that you are here. Can we be in order, honorable members? Is there any
It
province
was our
in
private conversation.
I've never had a private conversation with you. Honorable members, in accordance with Rule 71, I shall first allow provinces an opportunity to make a declaration of vote if they so wish. Is there any province that wishes to do that? In the absence of any, we shall then proceed with the voting in an alphabetical order. Eastern Cape. Eastern Cape.
Support.
Free State. Gauteng.
Siyavuma.
KwaZulu Natal.
KZN supports.
Limpopo.
Limpopo supports, Chair.
Mpumalanga.
We support.
Northern Cape.
Doesn't support.
Northern Cape support, Chair.
Northwest. Northwest.
We support, Chair.
Western Cape.
Western Cape support.
All 9 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the report is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. The Secretary will read the third order.
Consideration of report of Select Committee on Security and Justice, provisional suspension from the Office of Magistrate, Mr. E.S. Nzimande, Regional Court President, KwaZulu-Natal, tabled in terms of Section 13, subsection 3, subsection B of the Magistrate Act 1993, Act number 90 of 1993.
Honorable Matim. Honorable Matim.
Chairperson, thank you very, very much for this opportunity. I'm assuming this record will find its way to the Hansard. Basically, I can say the member here, Magistrate E.S. Nzimande, did not cover his own profession. in
Order,
glory.
honorable members. Honorable Mikalakis. Do not disturb the chair, please. Yes,
Chairperson, I was saying by way of summary that Mr. E.S. Nzimande, a regional court president of KwaZulu-Natal, did not cover his profession in glory in the job he was given. And allow me then to go to, the details are in the report, Chair. Yes. Allow me to go to the committee recommendations. Chair, committee recommendations to the NCOP. The Select Committee on Security and Justice, having considered the Magistrate Commission's report dated 5th October 2018 as tabled by the Minister for Justice and Correctional Services on the provisional suspension from office of Mr. E.S. Nzimande, the Regional Court President for the KwaZulu-Natal Regional Division, pending the outcome of a misconduct hearing into his fitness to hold the office of magistrate as is required by Section 13, subsection 3B of the Magistrates Act 90 of 1993, recommends the National Council of Provinces to confirm Mr. E.S. Nzimande's provisional suspension from the office of magistrate. We so submit, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. That concludes the debate. I shall therefore put the question, and the question is that the report be agreed to. In accordance with Rule 71, I shall first allow provinces an opportunity to make a declaration of vote if they so wish. Is there any province that wishes to? In the absence of any, therefore, I will proceed with the voting in an alphabetical order. Eastern Cape?
Support.
Free State? Gauteng? KwaZulu-Natal?
President supports.
Limpopo?
Limpopo supports.
Northern Cape?
Supports.
Northwest?
You skip
We agree to the
Mpumalanga.
report, Chair.
You have skipped Mpumalanga.
Mala?
Yeah.
Serious?
Hey.
Sorry.
Mpumalanga supports, Chair.
I marked you off before I called you. My apologies. Mpumalanga?
Mpumalanga supports, Chair.
Okay. Northern Cape? Northern Cape?
Northern Cape support, Chair.
Northwest?
Northwest supports.
We agree to the report, Chair.
Western Cape?
Eastern Cape supports.
All 9 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the report as agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. The Secretary will read the 4th order.
Consideration of report of Select Committee on Land and Mineral Resources, ratification of Minamata Convention on Mercury with its explanatory memorandum.
Honorable Sefako.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, permanent delegates, for the opportunity to present before this August House the report of the Select Committee on Land and Mineral Resources. Report of the Select Committee on Land and Mineral Resources on the ratifications of Minamata Conventions on Mercury, 29 January 2019. The Select Committee on Land and Mineral Resources, having considered the request for approval by the Parliament for the ratifications of the Minamata Conventions on the Mercury, referred to it on 26 November 2018, recommended that the Council, in terms of Section 231, subsection 2 of the Constitution of 1996, approve the said conventions. I move that the report be considered. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes the debate. I shall now put the question, and the question is that the report be agreed to. In accordance with Rule 71, I shall first allow provinces an opportunity to make a declaration of vote if they so wish. Is there any? In the absence of any province, we shall then proceed with the voting in an alphabetical order. Eastern Cape?
Support, Chair.
Free State?
Siyavuma.
Gauteng?
Support.
KwaZulu Natal?
President supports.
Limpopo?
Limpopo siyavuma.
Mpumalanga?
Mpumalanga support, Chair.
Northern Cape?
Northern Cape support, Chair.
Northwest?
We agree, Chair.
Western Cape?
Western Cape supports.
All 9 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the report as agreed in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Secretary will read the 5th order.
Consideration of powers, privileges, and immunities of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Amendment Bill, B 18/2018, National Assembly, Section 75, and report of Select Committee on Security and Justice thereon.
Honorable Mateme.
Chairperson, thank you very much. Yes, this bill, I think, should be the ABCD of our house. And because it seeks to regulate behavior in the house. I therefore, Chair, will go to the, I'll go to the recommendations. The Select Committee on Security and Justice considers this bill to be of the utmost importance in ensuring freedom of speech for members of Parliament and the provincial legislatures. We believe that this bill will go a long way in ensuring that members of Parliament and members in provincial legislatures are able to fulfill their oversight role and to speak freely in a democratic parliament on matters over which they preside. The bill therefore ensures that Parliament is operating in a free and democratic manner as envisaged in the Constitution, Chairperson, without being unduly disruptive. Chairperson, the Select Committee on Security and Justice, having considered the powers, privileges, and immunities of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Amendment Bill, B18 of 2018, National Assembly, Section 75, recommends that the National Council of Provinces approves the said bill. We so submit, Chairperson.
Honorable members, before I know. Honorable members, Honorable Gigi, can I, oh, sorry, Gigi, hey, Honorable Oliphant, may I, because earlier on I took responsibility on behalf of the House, and I apologized. And I thought that at that point, members would have actually felt a bit of sorry and pain for me. Now, Honorable Oliphant, may you please rise and apologize to the House for having passed between the Speaker and the Chair.
No, Chair, on a point of order.
No.
Aye.
No.
Because
No, you're not going to do that. Can you just do what I requested you on? Honorable Oliphant, just do what I'm requesting you to do. Now, can you just put it on record so that these members should hear? Because they're not listening to you.
Chair, on a point of order, Chair.
Ladies.
Chairperson, you failed to reprimand a
Ladies.
pastor.
Ladies.
Failed to reprimand a whole chairperson of a committee. And a pastor on top of that.
Chairperson, I want to apologize for passing.
No, I never recognized the honorable member.
That's apology accepted. Chair, I want to apologize for passing because I was already out.
Don't explain. Fine.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
But you must stop that thing.
Thank you very much, honorable members. That concludes the debate. And in accordance with Rule 63, I shall first allow political parties to make a declaration of vote if they so wish. Is there any political party that wishes to make a declaration of vote? In the absence of any, we shall then proceed with the manual voting. Honorable members, I hope we still remember what manual voting is. We'll raise our hands if we vote in favor, those who are against, and those who abstain. And therefore, members shall be counted on the basis of how they vote. Those in favor, who's going to assist me? You'll count. Who honorable members, who volunteers to assist? Thank you very much. She's already on the feet. On this side, who's going? Okay, Honorable Mampuru is on the feet. Honorable Labuskachni this side. Those in favor. Those in favor. Can you tally the numbers? Just to continue with procedure. Those against? Those who abstain? Okay, fine. Therefore, the majority of members have voted in favor of the bill. I therefore declare the bill as agreed to in terms of Section 75 of the Constitution. Secretary will read the sixth order.
Consideration of National Public Health Institute of South Africa Bill, B16D, 2017 National Assembly, Section 76, and report of Select Committee on Social Services thereon.
Honorable Dlamini.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. On behalf of the Select Committee on Social Services, allow me to table this report on the National Public Health Institute of South Africa, known as NAPISA, Bill 16B of 2017. The bill was referred to the Select Committee on Social Services by the Portfolio Committee on the 28th of August, 2018. From that date, the Select Committee received a briefing. We had public hearings after briefing the provinces. On the 26th of February 2019, the Select Committee met to consider the final mandates on the National Public Health Institute of South Africa, Bill 16B of 2017. On that day, Honorable Chair, allow me to indicate that written final mandates that we received were 7. Also, I want to indicate that we did receive verbally a support from Limpopo. The only outstanding written mandate was in Gauteng. We therefore, as a committee, supported the Bill B16D of 2017 with the amendments made after the public hearings. I so tabled the report for the council consideration.
What a
Thank you very much. That concludes the debate. I shall now put the question, and the question is that the bill be agreed to. In accordance with Rule 71, I shall first allow provinces an opportunity to make a declaration of vote if they so wish. Is there any province? In the absence of any, we shall then proceed with the voting in an alphabetical order. Eastern Cape.
Support.
Free State.
Sihamba nayo, Sihlalo.
Gauteng.
Mandate.
Come again?
We are-
Can you speak to your mic, to the mic?
If you had well that Gauteng did not submit, no mandate.
Okay. KwaZulu Natal.
Supports.
Limpopo.
Limpopo supports.
Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga supports.
Northern Cape.
Northern Cape support.
Northwest.
Agree, Chair.
Western Cape.
So the Biero beilo ke mang? Di Biero.
Western Cape. Can I listen to the Western Cape, please, members? Honorable members. Well, your behavior is not, it's really not honorable, right? I don't know why you're behaving like this. We understand the season that we are in, but please, man, just contain yourself. Be calm. No, be calm, be calm. I've not recognized you. I've not recognized you. Can you take your seat? Can you take your seat? We are in a voting process. Can you take your seat? We are in a voting process. Take your seat. Western Cape.
Western Cape support.
8 provinces voted in favor with the exception of Gauteng and Northwest. Okay, according to the list we have, and with the assistance of the table staff, Northwest have not submitted a written. So 7 provinces voted in favor. Therefore, the majority of provinces.
On a point
voted
of
in-
order, Chair.
Can I conclude the
Okay.
voting process?
All right.
The motion, the report is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. The bill. You see now, because of these interruptions and interjections and all that, instead of saying the bill, I say the report. Is the bill as it is. Thank you very much, honorable members. The Secretary,
May I address you with due respect,
on
Chair?
what grounds?
Chair, I'm raising on a point of order
Okay.
regarding the Northwest and the Northern Cape's voting. I'm not disputing the votes. It has been noted in the House that Northwest didn't have the mandate. Yet the leader of Northwest agreed on the mandate. He voted in favor, but he didn't have the mandate. The table came to you and informed you that Northwest don't have the mandate. Now, on whose behalf is the leader of delegate from Northwest is representing? Because the province itself didn't submit the mandate. My second point, Chair, with due respect, is with regard to the Northern Cape. I made you aware that the leader of Northern Cape is here in the House. You allowed Honorable Oliphant to participate on behalf of the leader of delegation
Honorable
that is
Mokwena.
present. Can I finish?
No,
Can,
the fact
with
that-
due
no,
respect,
no,
with due
no,
respect,
no,
Chair.
no, with due
now,
respect as well.
Now,
Can I interrupt you?
Gladys is not here.
Can
You allowed the beer to participate.
Honorable Mokwena.
Just be consistent, Chair. Thank you.
Honorable Mokwele, I'm not going to address you on the second issue because I referred to a particular rule of the of the rules book. And that rule answers you. I don't have to get that. No, take your seat, Honorable Oliphant. Take your seat. Take your seat. Honorable Oliphant, just take your seat. On the first issue, honorable members, I really wish that the honorable members, I just want to appeal to delegates. Don't make your provincial issues matters for the presiding officers, or even of a house sitting. Now we must debate what the Northwest, who has delegated who to do what. We must be stuck with that. So I'm appealing to provinces, please, when you get to the house, as an honorable member who is delegated to sit in this house representing your province, familiarize with yourself with the order paper. Then you would know what is before the house. And then if it's a matter that needs voting from provinces, engage with your delegation so that you don't bring your things into the house. And that on that basis, honorable members, I've made a ruling on that matter. I don't know what is happening in the Northern Cape, and I don't want to be part of that Northern Cape issue. Secretary will read the 7th order of the day.
Consideration of National Credit Amendment Bill B30 2018, National Assembly Section 76, and report of Select Committee on Trade and International Relations thereon.
Honorable Makue.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson and members. The National Credit Amendment Bill B30 of 2018 was referred to the Select Committee on International Relations and Trade. On the 12th of September 2018, the committee received a briefing on the bill on 10th of October 2018. The Select Committee on Trade and International Relations, having deliberated and considered the subject of the National Credit Amendment Bill, which is a Section 76 bill, refers to it, reports that it has agreed to the bill without amendments. Chairperson, this is a committee bill. We have looked at the process that we need to follow related thereto. We've, as a committee, looked at the rationale of the bill. We've looked at the main themes of the bill. And we have also been briefed by appropriately qualified people from the Department of Trade and Industry, the National Credit Regulator, as well as Parliament's legal team. Chair, in conclusion, we've also looked at a very important element of this bill, which is credit life insurance, related to the provision of credit for people that have been excluded from this right. Chairperson, I present the National Credit Amendment Bill to this House for adoption. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. That concludes the debate. I shall now put the question, and the question is that the bill be agreed to. In accordance with Rule 71, I shall first allow provinces an opportunity to make a declaration of vote if they so wish. Is there any province that wishes to do that? Western Cape? Western Cape? Or is it Northwest or Western Cape?
No, Western Cape.
Yeah, I saw you doubting.
No, I want you to give me the opportunity.
Okay.
Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, fellow South Africans, this process started with a noble idea to draft a bill that will protect poor South Africans against reckless and illegal lending and those who have no or little hope to ever repay their unsecured debt due to unemployment or not having any assets. A further aim of this bill was to develop mechanisms that will allow people on low income levels to access debt counseling services and appropriate legislation to protect them. The DA was in favor of this objectives of the bill and submitted a comprehensive document outlining its proposals during the National Assembly stage. This final bill that we are considering now does not meet the objectives and is not in the best interest of the partaking parties. The banks, microlenders, retailers have warned us that this bill in its current form will not yield the desired results. The passing of this bill in this House today will create massive unrealistic expectations before the elections. The result is nobody's interest because it will certainly drive up the cost of credit and further restrict the poorest of the poor to access credit, let alone their protection against reckless lending. Chairperson, unlike the ANC, the Western Cape Provincial Government and the Democratic Alliance have a moral obligation to protect our citizens and therefore cannot support this bill. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Northwest. Northwest.
Chair,
Order, honorable members.
Chair, I want to rise and make sure that the world know that what is being pronounced here, that they have moral obligation. What is morally obligating standing against a bill that extend amnesty against people who cannot access basic rights? What is morally right about not supporting the bill that seeks to make sure that those that are falling within the cracks are salvaged by a bill?
Honorable on what point?
Chairperson, I raise a point of order.
Honorable members, can I listen? Can I hear? Honorable members, can I please listen to the declaration? Whoever is doing whatever, please may I listen to the declaration? May I listen to the declaration, Honorable Koni?
Chairperson, the point of order I raised on is that this is a declaration. This is not a time for a debate. The honourable member should have requested a debate on the bill.
Honorable members, Honorable Mukwele, the order is not carried. Honorable, can you continue with
The purpose and the intent of the bill, Chair, is to extend amnesty unto the people, the poorest of the poor who can't afford. And they have been blacklisted and therefore cannot access credit. The intent and the purpose of the bill seeks to extend amnesty to people who are victims of reckless lending, which is not being done by the poorest of the poor, but those who are pushed by excessive appetite to consume and accumulate in the process of relegating those who are poor to the relegation or to the periphery by making sure that they don't get access to credit. The intent and the purpose of the bill was to make sure that those that have not been able to afford over a period of time, we are even implementing the bill retrospectively to make sure that those that with falling within the cracks are carried over moving into the future. So we therefore, as the ANC, support the bill. This is the bill that seeks to give dignity to our people. Thank you, Chair.
Can I just put the question for the purpose of record? Is it a province that support the bill? Can you put it like that?
Chair, fully mandated to speak on behalf of the AN as a province.
Thank you very much. Is there any other province? Okay, in the absence of any, we shall then proceed with the voting. And in accordance with Rule 71, I shall first allow provinces an opportunity to make a declaration of vote if they so wish. Is there any province that wishes to? In the absence of any, we shall then proceed with the voting in an alphabetical order. Eastern Cape?
Support, Star.
Free State?
Siambana,
Gauteng?
Supported.
Gauteng? Can you just?
Supported.
Okay. Yes. KwaZulu Natal?
KZN supports.
Limpopo?
Limpopo supports.
Mpumalanga?
Mpumalanga supports, Chair.
Northern Cape?
Northern Cape supports, Chair.
Northwest?
We support, Chair.
Western Cape?
Does not support, Chairperson.
8 provinces voted in favor. Therefore, the majority of provinces voted in favor of the report. And therefore, the bill is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. As I conclude the business of the day, the energy is so high. We still have got 2 months to utilize that energy. Save it. That concludes the business of the day, and the House is adjourned. I don't want to be